Hey, y'all. If you want to head to our website to check out all the different things Pizzazz offers, then just head to pizzazzart.com. That's PZAZZART.com. You will see our online memberships. We've got Kids Club memberships, our Lettering Club membership, our one project a month membership. We call that Paint and Praise. You will see some freebies that we've got there for you, and you'll see our local classes if you're local. So head to the website, check it out, pizzazzart.com, PZAZZART.com. Hey, y'all. This is Casey Hope with the Here's Hope podcast. Recently, I was talking to one of our Lettering Club members. Y'all know we have our online membership called the Whatever Letter Lettering Club. And for a lot of these members, I don't get to see them face to face because they are spread out all over the United States and beyond. But sometimes people will either live close enough to stop by or they're passing through. And that's what happened a couple weeks ago. One of our club members were in the studio and we were just chatting on all kinds of things. And one thing that she had expressed to me was she had these ideas and desires to do something new in this season. This was a new season for her, and she wanted to do something new. You know, she spent years raising her boys, and that's clearly what God told her to do during that season. But now they were off to college, and she was just kind of thinking, okay, God, what do you have for me in this season? And she had this desire to do something with her art, but she felt stuck on not knowing exactly what to do. She had recently learned to create patterns and had a lot of fun using her art to create patterns to put it on product. And she had done some classes with that and made some product, and she really liked it. She had also taught a door hanger class to the ladies at her church, and she had a lot of fun doing that, teaching art. So one thing was creating art and product, another was teaching art. She also had some ideas of maybe doing some kids' art with some of her, neighborhood friends' kids and different things, just as a way to pour into kids because she loves kids too. And so she had all these different ideas and possible directions that she could continue to go in, but she was kind of just paralyzed and not really acting on any of those because she was just fearful of making the wrong decision. She was fearful of making the wrong decision. She said, there's lots of options. And a lot of times we see that there's lots of options, lots of ideas, lots of opportunities. And sometimes that can lead to lots of confusion if you're not careful. That's kind of where she was. She's not sure which way to go because there's all these different ideas and things that she could do. Have you ever been there? I sure have. I have had so many ideas and I'm like, I just want God to give me the answer on which idea I should follow. I want to do what He wants to do for my future, but sometimes I'm just stuck there. God, I want to do what you want me to do, but I have no clue what you want me to do. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I see so many possibilities, so many options, so many ways I could go. And sometimes that just leads to confusion. My brain can see so many positives and negatives with every single scenario. And I'm just you know what? I don't know. And you might be there too, in a spot where there's lots of opportunities, lots of options, lots of ideas, and you are in lots of confusion. Maybe you have several job options. Maybe you have multiple options for majors that you're interested in. Maybe you have so many ideas on what your next product is going to be. You have multiple options of new streams of revenue, lots of ideas for side jobs after you retire. Do you hear these words that I'm saying? Several, multiple, so many, lots of. Sometimes we get in that state and we're so many things are going through my head right now and I don't know what to do. In marketing, there is a quote that you will hear often that says, if you confuse, you lose. If you confuse, you lose. And oftentimes that's kind of what it feels like when we have so many different things and ideas of which thing we could do that we just feel so confused that we lose. We're so confused on which path to take that we stay stuck and we don't make any forward progress on any of them. Does the Bible have anything to say about this? It actually does. There is a verse in Ecclesiastes that gives me so much freedom when it comes to deciding on the right choice. This verse gives me freedom that sometimes it's okay to just pick one and see. You heard me. Sometimes you just pick one. You just pick one and you move forward with it. And action creates clarity. Ecclesiastes 11:6 says, "Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let not your hands be idle. For you don't know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally as well." Y'all, let me read that just a little bit. Let me read it again, a little bit slower. I want it to sink into your brain. Sow your seed in the morning. That sounds like work to me. That sounds like planting something to me, starting something, doing something, not sitting back wondering which seed to plant, but going ahead and sowing the seed. Okay. Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening, let not your hands be idle. Keep on working. Keep on working. Because you don't know which will succeed, this or that. It didn't say you will get complete clarity on which one you're going to. It says, no, you don't know which one's going to succeed, this or that, or whether both will do equally well. Y'all, this verse just gives me so much freedom because I'm like, yes, okay, you're right. I don't know which one's going to, do well, this or that. So I'm picking one and I'm going to start sowing some seeds. Sometimes I think it's okay just to pick. You choose. Use godly wisdom, yes. Pray about it, yes. Seek God's direction. See if He is moving in ways, yes. But sometimes you just know you do have the freedom to choose because you don't know which one's going to work, this one or that one. So just choose. Recently, I heard someone say, now they were talking about something totally different, but he said the phrase, motion is the potion. Again, talking about something completely different, but I think it still applies here. Motion, movement, action. This is where clarity comes. You don't know which will do well, this or that or both. Let me tell you a story that I remember being in a very similar place as this lettering club member that I was telling you about. You see, this was way back when at the very beginning of before Pizzazz started. And I felt this pull to stay at home with Chloe. I was just pregnant with her, but that's what the pull that I started to feel. I knew this was going to be a new season. And during this season, I felt that things were going to be changing. I just didn't know how they were going to change. I wanted to do something to bring in income if I was going to be stepping away from teaching for a little bit. So I just started thinking like, okay, so what am I going to do? I had all these different ideas and so many ideas and options, but I didn't have like a major word from God. I didn't have a major download where God just said, this is the path. All I had to begin with were ideas and opportunities. I remember getting the call from a mentor, and they were about to start a jewelry line. This was a mentor from college. She had kept up with me even, through the years of me getting married and about to have kids. And she called, and they were about to start this new jewelry line. I had the opportunity to get in on this on the ground floor. It was the kind where, you have home shows, you invite people over, you set up all the jewelry, you sell, they get it, all the things. You have people under you. And so they were starting this, and I had the opportunity to get in on the ground floor and be one of the first distributors or partners in this company, or not partners, but to work for this company and sell jewelry. Now, I did not know if this was the answer to my prayers. I didn't know. I had been praying for God to show me what was next, to show me how I could stay home with my kid. I had been praying for that. Now, and I didn't know if this was the answer or not, but it was something. It was an opportunity. Now, at that same time, I had another idea that was floating in my head. I thought, hey, maybe I could sell my art at art shows. This would be a great way to, I thought maybe to just create income. I could paint during the day and sell at art shows, maybe get into some different galleries. I had seen some of my art teachers do that, and they made a pretty good living at it. And so, I didn't know if that was the answer, but it was something. I didn't know. God didn't say, do this, but it was an idea. It was an option. It was something. And then around that same time is when those ideas of combining my teaching background and art that started to form into this idea of maybe I could teach art lessons to kids for additional income. Again, I didn't know if that was the answer, but it was something. I had these multiple ideas and options and opportunities, lots of ways that I could go with this. Now, if I would have just sat there with no movement, no action, no moving forward, I would have had no clarity. But you know what I did? I gave them all a try. Why not? Remember, Ecclesiastes says, you don't know if this one's going to work or that one, or if they're both going to do well. You don't know. Sow seeds in the morning, and at evening, don't let your hands be idle, is what it says. So I joined that jewelry company. I had the very first party of that whole company. And, I sowed some seeds there. It served a great purpose. It helped us with extra income. Also, I did start getting my art into galleries and started get accepted into different art shows and start trying to sell at different art shows. So I sowed my seeds there. And at some of those same art shows, one in particular, I remember one of my very first ones, I also set up another booth. In addition to my art booth, like I had a little tent with my art booth, but they had also asked if I would maybe do some kids art, and I was already moving in that direction, about to open Pizzazz. I had not opened it yet, but I was about to. And so I was like, yeah. So I set up another tent and table with all kinds of projects for kids to do. Sowing seeds. I was taking action. I took action to sign up for that show. I took action to prepare all of the paintings and to get my tent and to figure out how I was going to display it, how I'd take the money, forward motion. I took action on joining the jewelry company and having parties in my house and setting up different parties. I took action on this kids' art booth and creating projects that I hoped kids would like. I took action to make sure somebody would cover this tent while I worked at this tent. I just kept moving forward. Clarity follows action, y'all. I took action on all three ideas. I did not have clarity on which one worked, this or that. So I sowed seeds in all of them. I gave them all a shot. And this is what I saw. At that art show, the tent that I was selling all my art in, I maybe had like 5 or 6 people stop by. And I'm pretty sure, I don't really remember, but I feel like I did not sell anything. Maybe I just didn't sell it like what I had put into it, but I definitely did not make money out of that show. There was not that many people walking in and out of my tent either. But over there at that kids' tent, it did not stop, y'all. Kids and parents, they kept coming and coming. And I was having so much fun because I could see how proud these kids were. And it was so much fun for me to teach them a skill that they didn't think they could do. And then they, with just a few minutes of playing with art and paint and tissue paper, they would hold up, their design and show their parents, and their parents would be so proud. And it became very clear real quick at that particular show of what was working and what wasn't. Me teaching kids art fulfilled me. And there was more of a demand over there in that area than there was for me selling my own art. So that action step is what produced the clarity. I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't taken action on both, but through my action, I clearly saw what was working, what wasn't, where the demand was, where I was fulfilled at. And that was very clear. Kids art, I decided, is where I would focus. Very soon after that, I started doing Pizzazz, and I was still selling that jewelry, but I realized it was hard to do both. And then I also realized that my creative brain really liked creating. With that jewelry line, I found myself wanting to design the jewelry more than I wanted to sell it. So over time, I decided to step back from that and to just focus on Pizzazz and teaching art. So you see, clarity came with action. I didn't know which would succeed, this or that. So I just picked a few and took action. And then things became clear. So I hope that this verse gives you freedom that it gave me. Sometimes there are very clear-cut things that God wants you to do. But other times, He gives you the free will to make your own call. But as you move forward and take action, pay attention to where He's working. Pay attention to what's working and what's not. Pay attention to what fills you up and gives you energy and joy and what drains you. Pray as you take action. Pray that God gives you clarity, and He will. God does not hide His plan from you, but sometimes we just got to start moving and start sowing some seeds before He shows us which ones are going to grow. I hope y'all enjoyed that podcast. Y'all be sure to go like, subscribe this, leave a review. Let us know how you're liking it. We like that feedback. And if you want to follow us on other social platforms, on Instagram, it's Pizzazz Art Studio. Same for Facebook. And Pizzazz is P-Z-A-Z-Z. Pizzazz Art Studio. Go check us out and see what all we have to offer over there.